From Transformers Age of the Primes, this is the Deluxe Class Solus Prime. And I'm going to say this right now. There were 3 figures that I was dying to get from this year. It's Red Alert, it's Scrapper, and it's Solus. There are other toys coming out this year that I'm still very excited for, figures like Skybite, but those are the 3 where it's like if I could only get 3 this year, those were the 3 I wanted to get. So when I finally found Solus Prime, I was so excited. And I do want to say, the box is not helping with that excitement. I hate the new boxes a lot. I think they're soulless. I think they're dull. I think it's hard to tell what character you're even looking at because of how small the artwork is. And I hate how much the Studio Series boxes and the Age of the Primes boxes look the same. I just did a whole video talking about how much I dislike these things, so if you're curious, go check that out. But you can look at the box here, ba-da-ba, 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 and the front. Just know that if it ever comes out that there is AI artwork, which someday there probably will be, we're just not going to talk about boxes anymore. But hey, let's open up toys. For anyone who does not know Solus Prime, she is one of the original 13 Primes. She was the first female Cybertronian. She was also the creator of the original Primes. She didn't make the Primes. What I'm saying is that out of all the Primes, her purpose was to create. All of the cities of Cybertron were designed and then formed by Solus, using the Forge of Solus Prime. She was one of the most powerful of the Primes. And I am so excited to finally have her. She's always had a great design. She has an important spot in the lore of the Transformers backstory. But unfortunately, I saw a lot of reports about this toy very early on that said that she was a finicky mess. On my Discord, on Blue Sky, on so many places, I saw people getting Solus and reporting her falling apart straight out of the box. And I was so terrified what that might mean when I finally got to find my Solus. And, well guys, I'm happy to say my Solus is stable. I don't know if that's common. I don't know if I'm very lucky here, but my Solus feels even more solid than a lot of the other recent Transformers I've gotten. What I'm thinking, because the people who were reporting the looseness were people who were getting the toys super early, which is to say they were probably stolen from a factory. All I'm saying is I think maybe they just got bum figures, because my Solus came straight out of a comic shop and feels amazing. All the joints are nice and tight, wonderful ratchets and detents throughout the toy. I really, really like the Solus. It is a great feeling figure. We're already basically doing it, so let's go over articulation. You have a really nice ball joint at the head. You get a lot of range of motion here. You have a universal here at the shoulder, and the armor can get out of the way, which is incredibly nice. Also, the armor you can use, put it in a lot of different formations, get a lot of different looks. It would be great to see what they're going to remold this figure into. I saw a lot of people saying Nautica, and all I can say is, yes, first of all, Solus has always looked like Nautica. Even this toy, the head sculpt, looks kind of like Nautica. I could see this being a really good Nautica. Upper arm cut, single jointed elbow, ball joint here for the wrist, that's very solid. Here in the waist, you actually have a really nice mushroom joint. I was really worried that Solus wouldn't be able to articulate at the waist just due to the design. Here in the hips, a really nice detent. Can you hear it? It's definitely like a quieter detent, but it's really, really nice. You have an upper leg cut and a really solid knee. It is a little bit lower on the leg than I would imagine, but at the same time, Solus is wearing armor. She has this big plate here in the front, which, by the way, the plate can move. The smaller plates can also move to give you more articulation. And down here in the feet, you have a swivel here at the top, and your feet can go side to side, back and forth. There's even ankle tilts. How nice. Solus is a really fun figure to articulate, especially when you take into account that she comes with her forge. The forge is really well done. I love how this hammer looks. I really like how you almost have like the core of the Matrix here within the head of the hammer. And to get her to hold it, this is actually something that I've seen like a lot of NECA figures do. You just pop off the head, and then you're going to slide it through like so. Boop. And you're able to get it back up on top. It is a little bit of a tight fit, but it works, and you're able to have Solus go and just completely destroy any Quintesson that might come her way. She's able to hold the hammer in both hands, which is great. A good range of motion within the arms are what's allowing that. I also just realized she has a butterfly joint. She has a slight butterfly joint because of transformation, which is even better. And I love this head. Like, just look at it. The sculpting, the gold. But the thing I love most are those green eyes, how striking they are. It's a wonderful head sculpt. And I'm going to say it now, I'm probably not going to get all 13 of the primes. I have no interest in Prima. Megatronus, I'm just not feeling. I'm probably going to get Onyx, but Solus was the only one that really appealed to me. And it's not just because of her character, it's because I think the design is really, really solid, incredibly well done, and I'm so happy to see that the toy measures up to that great design. As a robot, I have no complaints for Solus. I think the accessory is a little bit weak. The hammer could have used maybe a little bit more size, but just in terms of the actual robot herself, the paint, the sculpting, it is not just on par with modern Transformers, it's one of the better ones I've seen. I'm very much impressed with my Solus, and now I just want to compare her to some other important figures, because I do think it's worth bearing in mind, Solus is the only, so far in canon, female Prime. She was also the first female Cybertronian, which means that in terms of the overall makeup of the Cybertronian history and lore, she's very unique in that way. So I want to compare her to some toys that have some similar distinctions. Here Solus is alongside my Legacy Velocitron Override. Now, the reason I'm showing Override is because in lore, that's the first female Prime. In terms of characters being made, Override is technically the first female Prime. For anyone who doesn't know, in Japan, even though Override is a man in Japan, she is also called Nitro Convoy. And even though she's never given the title of Prime here in the United States, all the planet leaders are confirmed to be on the same rank as a Prime, meaning that Override was our first woman Prime in Transformers in terms of publication history. It's kind of a Namor and Apocalypse situation. First one actually published, first one in lore in universe. And it's also kind of cool just to see these two together because of that. Speaking of firsts, here she is alongside Legacy Elita 1, Elita 1 being the first female Cybertronian, at least leader that we saw. The first actual one on screen I'm pretty sure was Chromia. I could pull my Chromia down. Nah, I don't want to. The point is, here she is with Elita 1. This is the one I really want to show. This is Transmetal Air Razor. Transmetal Air Razor was the first toy designed from the ground up to be a female character. All these years later, and we're actually getting a good collection of female characters and toys in Transformers. So it's nice to look back on the first and see how far we've come. Just because I liked Transformers 1 a lot, here she is alongside the Warrior class, no, not Warrior class, the Prime Changer Alpha Trion. Of course, the 13 primes we're getting in the toy line are all based off of the Aligned universe, not the Transformers 1 designs, but even still, here she is alongside Alpha Trion. They look really nice together. And finally, considering that Age of the Primes is going to give us all of the original 13 primes, here was the first toy we got of any of the 13 primes. It's my Titanium Fallen. This was the Dreamwave Megatronus. And I'll be honest, I prefer this scaling. Leader Megatronus just towering over Solus, I don't like. Because in continuity, Solus and Megatronus are supposed to be like equal warriors. They're supposed to be equally powerful, have equal tempers, and they loved each other, but they also fought a lot. I like the idea that they could look eye to eye. I don't like the idea that the Age of the Primes Megatronus is going to be like 3 times the size of Solus. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, a smaller character can't be as powerful as a larger character. This just feels more right. I also like that this Fallen is all black, whereas the Megatronus we're getting is purple. I like this old guy a lot. That's basically what I'm saying. And I'm really happy to see that he still looks great alongside Solus. I wish I could show this Solus alongside a Transformers 1 Elita 1. Because if I remember right, in Transformers 1, Elita 1 got the transformation cog of Solus. However, I don't have the Studio Series version, and I have some of the gimmick toys of Elita, but most of them are in storage right now. In any case, I'm happy with the Solus. And what I'm really excited about is something I've not even talked about yet. This is coming out the same year that we're getting Missing Link RC. We're getting the first female Prime the same year that we're getting the first female Transformer toy that should have happened back in '86. I don't know. It's a thing that I'm sure a lot of people would say I'm very silly for thinking about, I don't know, identity stuff in Transformers, but I am happy that Solus is here and is such an amazing looking figure, an amazing feeling figure, in a year where we have a lot of great female characters coming out in Transformers. But hey, we've talked enough about the robot mode, we've talked enough about the character. How is transformation and vehicle mode? Solus is a tricky transformation to talk about. In broad strokes, I love it. I think it's incredibly clever, and there were 3 or 4 separate moments where I was like, oh, so that's how that works. Especially in the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads transform so much more than I thought they would. It's really impressive. The legs are also really cool when you see it all come together. But talking about coming together, there's never a moment where it feels like, yes, you are done, ka-chunk. It feels like there are gaps from the top, and you're going to notice there's a couple of pretty big ones. These little flaps that come off the arms are really hard to hook onto the door. They pop off a lot. Same with the feet down here. Now, I'm still pretty happy with the build quality of my Solus, because I saw people where it was like Limp Noodle City, but those pieces were falling off pretty regularly. I love the general shape of this vehicle. It is kind of like an old locomotive. I also see a lot of the armored cars you'd see in like the World War II era, the type of armored car that you'd see Winston Churchill be escorted to. In keeping with that, you can take the hammer, put it on top, and you can see that it becomes not necessarily a tank. Oh, one sec, I'm using the wrong port. Not necessarily a tank, but definitely like a very armored looking thing, very spacey. You can pivot up and down using the hammer. You can also, take it off, fold this down, and then using this port here, you can put it on the back here. Or maybe it's on this side. Yeah, it's on this side. You can put it in. If I can get this to work. There we go. And you can have it just on the side there. That looks okay, not as nice, but like it is a separate place you can put it if you don't want a straight up tank. I know a lot of people would probably complain about the fact that those are absolutely the legs. I'm okay with the original 13 Primes having kind of janky alt modes because in theory, they're not disguised as anything. They're not transforming into actual vehicles, they're transforming into things that let them move faster. I'm okay with Solus Prime's car mode. I like how spacey it looks, I like how armored up it looks, I also like that it looks like it could get a lot of speed. It reminds me of Six Shot's car in a lot of ways. It's not the best part of this figure. The best part is definitely the robot mode and then some of the more clever transformation steps, but the car mode is still serviceable, very cool, nice colors, good shapes. I just wish that the actual conversion was overall smoother, as opposed to having some really good points and some kind of iffy middles. I want to say this right now because it's very important to me, and it might not be important to anyone else out there, but hey, my channel, I get to talk about these things if I want to. I grew up in a single-parent household, and that single parent was my mom. I had 2 little sisters. In many of the early years of my life, I didn't really have a male figure around me. It always really bothered me how few woman characters there were in Transformers. And the ones that were there were often pink, and they didn't have good toys because they had to look very buxom. They had to look like a pinup model as opposed to a cool robot. And I also want to point this out. Transformers have had female characters since the 2nd year of the franchise, since '85. In Season 3, in 1986, one of the principal characters was RC. Even in Beast Wars, at least there was a little bit more attention given, but There, it was two major characters with Black Arachnia and Airazor, and Airazor died after season 1. I want you to consider that Airazor came out, the first female Transformer toy designed from the ground up to be a female character. That toy came out when the franchise was nearly 15 years old. It took 15 years to get our first. And then for a long time, every line might have one or two female characters. Even lines I really love. Animated had one. That's RC. The 2007 movie line had a few repaints and then only one made for the line, that being RC again. Prime, RC again. And when we did get these toys, they were often repainted from each other. For God's sake, Power of the Primes, almost all of the female characters use the same stick car body. I'm not saying that, oh, we've won, there's no more issues ever when it comes to diversity in Transformers. That's not what I'm saying. But also, I look around, and I look specifically at Legacy, and I look at what the designers have done, and what they've changed, and I don't think we talk enough about how diverse the character selection has become, how diverse the designs have become, and more specifically, how diverse our options when it comes to female Transformers are. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of maybe 15 or 20 great molds designed to be female characters, all distinct from one another, that has come out in the past 3 or 4 years. And I know that's a drop in the bucket compared to the 50 Optimus Primes we've gotten, but it is a positive change. It's a step in the right direction. And getting Solus Prime, the same year we're getting a new Elita 1, and the same year that we're getting that first RC toy that should have come out all the way back in 86, it feels good. It makes me proud. Not of Hasbro the corporation, or Transformers the IP. It makes me proud of the toy designers. It makes me proud of the authors and the animators and the character designers. It makes me proud of our fandom. It makes me so proud that we're happy for this, and we're embracing it, and we're excited for it. You know what? I want to play a game right now. I just told you I can name 15 off the top of my head. Let's see if I can do that. Studio Series Bumblebee Movie RC. There is also Legacy RC. Got reused a lot, but usually good remolding. Elita 1, I'll count. Override, I'll count. That Kingdom Airazor turned into Filch. Solus Prime. There was the Chromium mold. Very similar to the Carbot mold, but you know, it was reused recently to make Cascade, and it was a very good reuse. You had the Slipstream mold, which originally was the Windblade mold, but, you know, quite frankly, I get these things confused sometimes what comes out first. It was in the same calendar year. There was also the Warrior Twitch, Deluxe Twitch, Warrior hashtag, Deluxe hashtag. I'm not going to count them because they're not female, they're non-binary, but again, Nightshade, wonderful diversity, both as a character design and as a character in general. You also have the Transformers 1 Elita 1 coming out. And we had the... Oh, no. Oh, well, I can name 13. Again, I think that the point I'm trying to make is we are getting better, but we could always do more. I'm just happy that finally there is more and more and more options in Transformers. Because not every person who is a fan of Transformers is a fan for the same reason. Yeah, there's a lot of kids who could look at a character like Optimus Prime or Bumblebee or Jazz and be like, that's me, I'm so much like him. But I can tell you from experience that there's a lot of fans out there who would say the same about RC, or Elita 1, or Twitch, or Windblade. And only now are we getting to a point where getting toys of them is easy and accessible, and the toys are great. I'm so happy that Solus Prime is here to kind of commemorate that, but also so that we can continue to push forward and get even more of these great, diverse character designs and character origins all put out again. I'm sure you can tell by now, but I'm giving a massive recommend to Solus. Yes, there are some finicky bits of the transformation, but the robot mode is incredible, looks like a Valkyrie coming from on high, and I do adore the overall presence of the figure, especially the head sculpt. I cannot recommend it enough, and all I can hope is that some of the other figures I picked up over these past few days will be half as good as Solus was.